I'm Song Capone. We back.
What a great episode for you guys. What's the episode?
Well, you know, we one nation under a groove over here, so we're going to be talking about one nation under a family and why every family should be a corporation and build and optimize generational wealth within the family and leaving behind a strong legacy.
Yeah, man. That's very important. That is very important because there's many reasons that's important, and you know it's hard to do. It's hard to do, and like I'm not saying as my family we do it because we need to do it also, but it's definitely something should be talked about now and actually implemented and done because there's so many benefits of just a family becoming a corporation and building the name, a strong name, make your name a brand. So when your grandkids grow up, they grow up into a strong brand, a strong name, and the opportunities is right there for them without even having to go out seeking and looking all hard for it. You know, you already built something solid. And
the thing is, this used to be such a big thing in the so-called ancient days. It was all about leaving a legacy, making sure the future knew your name. And what we're saying here by definition is that generational wealth and family wealth, legacy wealth, whatever you want to call it, wealth passed down from one generation to the next. And we're talking about anything that can include businesses, entrepreneurship, real estate, stock market investments, businesses, or anything else that contains a monetary value that will last for generations.
Yeah, you know, that's the word of the day, generational wealth. I know it's a little overused today because I think a lot of people don't even really know what it really is and what it takes, because it takes a lot of sacrifice, not one individual, because that's what goes on in the family. It'd be like one individual make it big and everybody just be like, but if everybody in the family makes it big together, it's a whole different ball game because, you know, you can utilize the power of your credit scores, you know, your credit as one. Instead as a family, and it becomes one. Like you got 5 700s and 800 credit scores when you go into the bank. You got 8, you know, you can't have people, and that's part of the sacrifice. You can't have people like, oh no, I'm not going to put my credit on the line. Well, if you're not, this won't work for you. You know, so you can step to the side as one of the family members. But, you know, at long term, it's not saying the corporation is the cure because it takes money. And that means you have to sacrifice and you have to, you know, put that money away. Like, say, for instance, like most families, you got probably 100 members or more. So could you imagine if everybody in that family put up $100 a week into a corporate account and watch that grow and then start investing? That is so powerful. And it would benefit everybody, you know, so.
That's a big family. But even if you have a small family, let's say you don't have 100 members in the family, a lot of people today, instead of throwing their children birthday parties and frivolous things, are starting to put things in their children's names. And I'm not talking about your cable bills and your light bills neither. Nah, we talking about that. We're talking about
screwing their credit up.
You know, we don't mean that way. Not the you know, the hood shenanigans because you jacked up your credit. Nah, they buying their kids land, putting stocks in their children's names, that, you know, buying their children Amazon stocks and stocks that you know are going to build and build and build, instead of buying crazy, renting a hall for a 1-year-old and doing all this mess that they're never going to remember. A lot of parents now are pretty much setting their children up to start their own legacy. And that's a great thing if you don't have a big family. Let's say you also come from a family that is routinely poor. You have a poverty mindset in a family. You're not going to get the family members who are going to be committed to putting that kind of money away until, and you're not going to get the commitment, the dedication, or the sacrifice that's going to come with that. So a lot of times you have to take into consideration who's going to be responsible, who's going to be committed to it, and who's going to actually be okay with using that part of their income as so-called disposable, because it's not going to happen overnight.
No, it's not. But you don't want to see with things like this. You don't want to overthink it, because when you overthink it, it'll never get done. Nothing. You will never take a first step. So sometimes you just got to do it without thinking about the benefit. You got to do some things without thinking about the benefits. Like, well, how much am I going to make? Who's going to be in charge? How about just sometimes you got to do things to be a part of something greater than yourself. And that's definitely greater than yourself. And you got to be a part of the community. It's like building a community. So it's like selfless service. Like, hey, yeah, I'll do that because that sounds like a great idea. Let's do that. Let's make it happen. And then down the line, you saw, whoa, this thing just grew and grew and grew, because there was no investment is going to make you more money than investing in yourself. I don't care what it is. I don't care what you do. Unless you have a lot of money you're investing, ain't no investment going to make you more than you can actually make for yourself when put forth and it's successful. So you can just go off. Let's talk numbers. If we talk numbers, you go 100 members at $100 a week. That's like what, 10 grand a week, 40 grand a month into that kid. Now you be like, all right, for the first year, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna just let this grow. So you go 40 grand. So you over 100. You over half in a year. You up to $500,000 or more. You know what I'm saying? So those are real numbers, because you go, you know, those are real numbers. 12 months, that's 400 grand plus another 2 months. That's another 8. You got $480,000. That's the facts. So you got $480,000 in this corporate kitty. You ready to go? You ready now? You got about 5 or 6 members or more members with good credit. Everybody ready is like, yo, let's do this. And you start buying. You start investing. You may buy a grocery store. Build a grocery store. It only costs $1 million. You can buy a McDonald's that's going to guarantee you. Your goal may be to buy franchises. You just keep buying franchises, like year after year after year. Next you know, the family's got all these franchises.
And everybody's eating.
And everybody's making money. And
everybody.
The kids got a place to work. Everybody's making money. You know, it's really simple, but
with it comes look at that 1 year of sacrifice. 1 year.
$100.
And even cut that in half if you only have 50 people doing it, and you're getting
per member per year.
Exactly. But still, you waste that on, some people waste that on weed and everything else, cigarettes and everything else. But are you going to be committed to doing it every week? Or are you going to do my light bill is mad high this month, I need to take out from the fund? You can't do that. You have to look at that $100 as it doesn't even exist.
Yep. Just like you would do if you were saving it in something else, because it's a bunch of different ways you could go at it. You could go at it like, hey, when we get our income tax, everybody just throw their income tax into the kitty. That's pretty much unaccounted for money, besides you going to get you some seafood and
some
stuff
some
crab legs when you get your check or whatever, your income tax check, but that's a whole nother issue. But we definitely need to get on the ball with stuff like this, and then it's a lot of tax breaks being a corporation. And once you build that business credit, your credit is off the line. Once your corporation is able to stand on its own, like, hey, they pay their bills, you build, it's just like any other credit.
You get an extension and a line of credit.
Yeah, they're going to give you more and more money, and then you borrow against the money you have. Just say, for instance, we doubled up. It was $200 in there. So now in 1 year, we got $1 million in the kitty. They're going to give you could probably borrow for $1 million. They know you got $1 million worth of collateral cash. You already get $5 million. You get $5 million from the bank. Easy. And, you determine what you guys are going to invest in. You definitely need a head, somebody that's going to be the CEO of the family and make the final call. Yeah, you can take ideals, but everybody can't be the boss. And that's the problem with the world today. Everybody want to be the boss. Everybody want to be the lead. So, and then what happens, nobody ends up going nowhere, because even in families and friends, people are always
the bullshit gets in the way.
And they're always in competition with each other. And you need to stop and be like, we're not in competition. We're on the same team. That's the mentality you need. That's the mentality you need. Like, we're not in no competition. I'm not in competition. That's the person that's in charge. That's I'll follow.
And it's just that. It's just that. That's the person in charge. Then you have your sub, your chain of command, and your sub, your subordinates, and it will work with commitment, focus, dedication, and yes, you all are going to have family meetings. You all are going to have to discuss what businesses are going to be invested in so that everyone is on the same page. Who's going to have access to the accounts? Because everybody can't have access to the accounts. Everyone even like I said, even if you have half of that and you guys have a little over $250,000 after 1 year, again, who's gonna, these are all things that should be discussed ahead of time so that you don't let the so-called family nonsense and family bullshit of, oh, why does he get to be in charge and why does she get to do this and why does this? No, like you said, we're all on the same team. We're here to make sure there's a legacy left for our grandchildren's grandchildren. And that's the commitment and that's the focus. It can be done, but, people let the simple things of life get in the way also. If you were to gather your family in a family reunion and be like, hey, when everybody's feeling it and feeling happy and everything, and everybody's like, yeah, let's do it. And then 2 weeks later, ninjas don't want to answer their phone. Then it's like, oh, what had happened was, I spent all my money at the reunion. Nah, you have to get the people who will actually stay committed to it. Because everything sounds good when you're in a good mood.
Everybody. You offer it to everybody, and people are going to say they're going to do it, and you ain't even going to have to eliminate people. People eliminate themselves.
It's exactly.
They eliminate themselves, but you try to do the best you can because this thing here will work as a family, and you will see a significant change in your lifestyle and everybody else's lifestyle. Because if you really, really be like, we're doing this together, this is for everybody. It's not somebody's getting paid more, somebody's getting paid less. It's like, no, we're doing this for everybody. We're doing this for the name. We're doing this for the name. I want our family to be strong. I want my grandkids to come out with opportunities that I never had, and leave some type of legacy in your neighborhood. Like, all right, if your majority of your family is in South Carolina, you should have a grocery store down there somewhere. Because, guess what? The essential needs of every family is the same. So if all your family down, just the patronage of them alone would probably keep the grocery store going. And make it the best grocery store you possibly can. Keep researching and fortifying it and making it better and better. So everybody be like, wow, next you the next big Publix or Wegmans or
whatever. But yeah, and make sure you have someone who's also studying economics and studying financial planning and studying entrepreneurship so that you don't lose money to ignorance. Because you just didn't know certain, tax laws and tax breaks and things that you're eligible for and things that you're not eligible for. So, financial planning, economic studies, and being on the same page.
School for business, and you zero in on those kids in the family, and you be like, we're gonna pay for your college. You're not gonna have to struggle in college because you're going to work for the family. That's how most families do. They don't ask you. They tell you, yo, you're going to work for the family. And that's how you keep it going. Because what I seen growing up in my neighborhood in Southside Jamaica, when I first grew up, there was a lot of businesses was family owned. Like I remember Freddie was around there. This guy Freddie, he owned the whole block and he owned some houses around the corner. You had Cherry or Sufton Boulevard. He owned a few stores up there. You had poor Freddie Mudhole. He was the tire and rim shop back in the days, and the Rib Shack and all these places, RCL. All this was around my neighborhood, but then it all faded away because when these guys died, their family had no interest in keeping it going. And they just, they sell out. You sell the business, you sell the houses because the kids, they want to floss.
And don't understand the importance of building and maintaining generational wealth.
Yeah, and they sold out and they sell it for a few $1 million
and wind up working for someone else.
In the future, exactly, because you just shut off your income, your residual income because you just wanted to floss and you have that moment of, I got this, I got that, and then it's over and you back to the drawing board. And,